העולם כולו מחכה למוצרים שלכם. אז תנו לנו במכון הייצוא לסייע לכם להצליח ברמה הבינלאומית. מכון הייצוא מעניק מדי שנה לאלפי יצואנים ישראלים מגוון שירותים וכלים להצלחה בינלאומית, בעזרת 3 דרכים מרכזיות. המכללה לייצוא ושיווק בינלאומי מספקת כלים הכרחיים במגוון הכשרות, בהדרכת אנשי מקצוע מובילים במשק. שירותי מידע וייעוץ, החל מהצעד הראשון ועד לתחילת הפעילות אל מול שווקים ברחבי העולם. יצירת הזדמנויות עסקיות מותאמות לצרכים שלכם. פנו אלינו עוד היום, כדי שנוכל לסייע לכם בדרך לייצוא מצליח. מכון הייצוא, מייצרים הזדמנויות עבורך.
בוקר טוב, שלום לכולם. שמי דפנה שטרנפלד, מנהלת את המכללה לייצוא ולשיווק בינלאומי כאן במכון הייצוא. ברוכים הבאים לוובינר שלנו. חלק מסדרת הוובינרים שאנחנו עושים עם משרד החוץ ומערך השגרירים של משרד החוץ ברחבי העולם. היום אנחנו מתמקדים בבולגריה, ואנחנו נארח כאן את יוסי לוי ספרי שהוא שגריר ישראל לבולגריה, וגם נציגים מכובדים מ-Invest Bulgaria Agency, ותכף אנחנו גם נציג אותם. I will switch to English and I will give the moderating role to Victor Darov from the Trade and Economy Department at the Embassy, and he will moderate the event. The webinar is recorded, it will be on our website, and you will receive the link and some additional information, including contact details. So just relax and enjoy the webinar. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to write them at the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. So without further ado, Victor, the floor is yours to start the webinar.
Thank you, Daphna. Thank you so much to you and the Israeli Export Institute, to the College for Export and International Marketing for this amazing opportunity to introduce the Israeli business to Bulgaria, and with this webinar, and I hope that there will be more in the future, to hopefully further expand our good bilateral relations. Before we begin, I would like to assure that the embassy is open and willing to assist you and every single of the participants in today's webinar in case you have any questions, requests, or need assistance with contacts, contacting authorities, business here in Bulgaria. So feel free to reach out to us. We believe that friendship and the bridges that our two countries have are of extreme importance, and even more so in these challenging times that Israel is facing now. So we must strive to further expand our cooperation. And now, before we dive into today's main presentation, we will have the privilege to hear some opening thoughts from His Excellency Ambassador Yosi Levi Sfari and the Director of Invest Bulgaria Agency, Mila Nenova. So, Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Victor. I will start in English, but later on maybe I will switch to Hebrew or I will mix. I think that what is extremely important to understand about Bulgaria, and this is something that is very much, it has an impact on the type of relations, economic relations that we can have also with this country, is that Bulgaria is extremely friendly country. We see it also during the actual conflict, and we cannot ignore, of course, the conflict even when we are dealing with economic things. In the end, Bulgaria had a very clear and still have very clear voice about her position, its position towards Israel, and the full condemnation of Hamas activities, understanding of the need of eradication of Hamas, the understanding of the right of Israel to self-defense, understanding of the activity of Israel, and of course the expectation that it will be done in a way that will protect uninvolved civilians, which is also understandable from our side. But the general position of Bulgaria, political position, meets the position of the people of Bulgaria. And I think what is so special about these two countries is not only the fact that we are having extremely good political relations that were reflected in the visit of the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs in Israel just a month before, but also in the good, warm relations that we are having between the people-to-people relations, which are based on historical roots. Bulgaria, as we say a lot of time, is not very much infected by the traditional anti-Semitism that you can see in a lot of other places. Bulgaria was part of the Ottoman Empire, and the relations between Jews and non-Jews in Bulgaria were extremely good for generations, and it was reflected also in the history of the Holocaust, when Bulgarian Jewish community was saved and was protected mostly by the civil society in Bulgaria. So these are the roots of the relations that we are having with this country, and these kind of roots are having, of course, an impact of the type of cooperation, the type of discussion that you can have Israeli companies with Bulgarian companies, because they are always based on a very warm and friendly atmosphere. Bulgaria is a member of the European Union, and as being part of the European Union, exporting to Bulgaria, which is extremely close to Israel, is also exporting to the European Union. When you speak about the type of connections that we are having with this country, we have to remember that on a regular basis, we used to have 5 companies flying from Sofia to Tel Aviv and vice versa. Not these days of the military conflict, but in general, El Al, Bulgarian Airlines, Wizz Air, Ryanair, and Israel flying from Sofia to Tel Aviv. There are also charter flights from Plovdiv, and there are charter flights from Varna and Burgas. This coverage is amazing, and I can tell you that Bulgaria is not well connected to all kind of points by flight to the world. For example, nowadays still there is no direct flight to New York, but we have so many connections, aerial connections between Israel and Bulgaria. And this also have a meaning in the number of tourists coming to Bulgaria. In the peak before the corona, we reached the number of 250,000 Israeli tourists. The state was actually full with Israelis all the time, and it is again based a lot on the type of good relations that we are having. Israelis are very much welcomed here, and I can assure you that people who are coming from Israel to Bulgaria feel very much at home here. Being part of the EU, Bulgaria is also a member of NATO, and now trying and in process to join also the OECD. Israel is supporting this process, and we very much think that it will be good for Bulgaria that it will be part of the OECD. The currency of Bulgaria is the lev, the Bulgarian local currency, but it has a fixed rate and it is attached to the euro. And they are their policy is that they want to see to be part of the eurozone. We don't know when will it be, but this is part of their policy. We have agreements with Bulgaria in several fields of economic relations. We signed the agreements in water and agriculture and trade and all kind of agreements. And we also have a bilateral export and import relations, which is not very high and not enough. I don't want to mention numbers because the numbers, according to the Israeli statistics and the numbers according to the Bulgarian statistics, are not exactly the same, and they are probably counting it in a different way. In any case, what we see in the time that I'm here since August, we already had discussions and meetings with the majority of the ministers here. Of course, ministers related to fields of economy, Minister of Economy, Minister of Defense, when you speak about the defense industry, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Environment and Water, and others, and they are very much, Minister of Health, they are very much open for any kind of cooperation between Israel and Bulgaria in all fields of trade and economy. We have here some Israeli companies already active, and we have to remember that Bulgaria is also pretty good in means of education, and the level of education, especially in mathematics, physics, etc., is good. For that reason, you see here Israeli companies related to high tech that they opened here some branches, and as much as I know, and according to the contacts that I have, they are very happy with their activity in Bulgaria. There is a very good and solid basis for cooperation between our countries, and we believe that the economic relations should be deepened. I call you to look at the Bulgarian market and to try to make the right connections here. And we are very much open to help and to do whatever it takes. In some cases, companies have already communicated with us, and they ask our help and support, and we are doing our best. Yes, there are some gaps sometimes of culture, like in every other case of international trade. We have to be familiar with the Bulgarian culture, with the way they are working, but still there is no reason that we won't deepen our economic relations and trade relations with this friendly country. So I think that the best would be to give our friends from Invest Bulgaria also to make their own presentation, and then we will answer questions. In that case, maybe I will shift to Hebrew, but we'll see according to the interest that will be presented by you. Thank you very much, and back to you, Victor.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And yes, indeed, the foundations for good economic relations and cooperation are already there. So we need to strive and build from there onwards. So now I would like to invite Ms. Mila Nenova to say a few words on behalf of the Invest Bulgaria agency. Ms. Nenova, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. Thanks to the embassy and to His Excellency for his opening speech, and to the Israeli Export Institute, because when the institutions make the way, it's always easier for the companies to understand the country and feel welcome there. The ambassador already mentioned we have strong historic relations, but the Hebraic community in Bulgaria is very important and well inserted. So we are very used to communicate and to work with with the Hebraic community and Israelis as well. And I'd like to point out some points, and then I'll give the floor to my colleague for her presentation. The ambassador is right. Economic data statistics is not always the same because of the different angles and how we calculate it. But in the 22, it has grown the export from Bulgaria to Israel. There is serious growth there, but unfortunately some decrease from the export from Israel to Bulgaria. So there is room for improvement there as well. And the investments in the 5 years are around 150 million euros, which is really important, but there is room for other opportunities as well. As agency, we have certified 3 investments in Bulgaria, and this information is for the last 15 years. And the total amount of the investment is 170 million euros. So we are at a good point, but we can always improve. I believe that tourists and commercial relations growing bring us to the possibility of looking at Bulgaria as a possibility for investment as well. And why Bulgaria and not another country? As the ambassador said, we are an EU country, and whatever you produce in Bulgaria, it's made in EU. So that gives really direct access to European markets and producers. The distance is very close. Bulgaria has very strong macroeconomic characteristics, and later my colleague will dwell on that. But the numbers speak, and usually entrepreneurs know how to listen to the numbers. Then you have that information as well. It is a very good country to come to and live and do business, but come with a family. As the ambassador said, it's a very secure country and very open to foreigners and especially to Israelis. Strong community here and really acceptance to foreigners in general. Good schools, good care. We have 4 seasons, very good climate. And sometimes we underestimate these conditions, but they're important because entrepreneurs and businessmen, they are people as well, and they have the good conditions here to come with their families and develop business here as well. The Bulgarian Investment Agency is an agency that has the role to promote investment in Bulgaria. We are under the Ministry of Innovation and Growth. That's the ministry that's responsible for the economic growth of the private companies through innovation and funding. We as agency are there, the agency for the support of small and medium companies, the Bank for Development, the Fund of Funds. So it's the ministry that is responsible for the economic growth. There are a lot of Israeli companies that have come here that are in the IT sector, and Bulgaria is quite good as conditions for IT sector, for startups. It has a growing international startup community, the second best place for startups in Europe. I know that Israel is developing quite a strong startup community, innovation community, and there is really a lot of potential for development of these relations and of creating new opportunities for Bulgarian and Israeli companies as well. We have a very active and very open Minister of Innovation and Growth that really appreciates and works passionately for the development of the sector here in Bulgaria. We as an agency have the role to promote Bulgaria. I know in Israel, Bulgaria is well known. We can do always better, but we have these historic relations that help us. when the companies come to Bulgaria, the agency, that the companies, the interested investors, shows them the possible places, laws, conditions, contact, so that one can evaluate if the conditions are good for developing a business here in Bulgaria. Thanking again to the organizers for this opportunity. And now I'll leave the floor to my colleague. Please excuse me, I won't be able to stay until the end because I have to be plugged in a couple of hours. But it has been a great pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nenova, for this introduction, the insights that you shared and your input, and we wish you a safe travel to Plovdiv. I want to add something that, as you mentioned, in Bulgaria, there are also many organizations, like professional organizations from the business itself, and they're in different fields. These are industry, startups, entrepreneurs, and on top of that, there are also many venture capital funds. And actually, all of them are pretty active. They're pushing some legislation changes. So it's a good place to be. So we'll now proceed to the main presentation of this webinar. And I would like to present the keynote speaker, Mr. Julian Balchev. He's the Secretary General of the Invest Bulgarian Agency. Mr. Balchev will introduce us to many interesting topics, such as an overview of the economy of Bulgaria, what are the main trade activities here. He'll share some information about business opportunities, as well as what are the incentives to foreign investors, and also some practical advices for company incorporation, business culture, and more. So, Mr. Balchev, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Derov, Your Excellency, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, dear colleagues, dear partners. It is my great honor to have this opportunity today to be with you and to present the investment opportunities in our country and the investment climate in Bulgaria. As you know, Bulgaria had in the last 2 years many governments. We have 5 governments passed. But since last year, we have a stable government, and now we are on the right way always, and we are working under the Investment Encouragement Act. What I mean that whatever is the political situation here, the stability is on the first place. The Investment Encouragement Act ensures to all the investments, to all the investors, predictability coming in Bulgaria and starting their businesses here, which is very important. On the other side, this is a very, very stable investment environment. We have a very big role together with the companies since their first coming in our country. All together with each company, Invest Bulgaria Agency is supporting the full process of establishing for all the companies here, supporting them to find partners, to find a good location, to find the best location for them, to find also other support from the municipality on the local business environment with the local chambers of commerce. So we do all that process together with the investment incentives, which comes from the government of Republic of Bulgaria. I'll speak to you later about the investment incentives. So having this opportunity to come in our country, in our agency, you are always in good hands, and you can rely on our support. So our role is to make the process very easy for the company and very fast. So I'll switch right now to the presentation. we have prepared for you our presentation. I hope that everyone can see the screen and everything is fine, hopefully. Okay, let's check once again. Okay. A couple of words I'll add to my executive director, Mrs. Nenova. As she mentioned, our structure is under the Ministry of Innovation and Growth. Our services are free of charge. So when you come to Bulgaria, you can rely to our full support. We are starting together, as I mentioned, the investment process with our potential partners, and we finalizing together this process, which ends with a certificate from the government, from the Minister of Innovation and Growth, and which certificate allow to the company to get benefit from the state, to get financial aid for the infrastructure, to get direct cash grant for the big investment project in our country. I have to say a little more about the people. So you know very well that in Bulgaria you can have no English, no language barrier, because most of our population speak foreign languages. This is our advantage, and this is very important for the companies because there is a very big pool, not only in Bulgaria, but only they can have people from abroad. We have many students which are studying abroad, and they, after that, if they have good opportunities, they wish to come in their home country and work for international companies at very attractive wages here. So not only this potential is not only in our country, but we have many students in Western Europe, we have in the States. So some of them, most of them, they would prefer to come back and work for the companies. At the beginning, have been mentioned that we have the strongest IT and engineering talent pool in the European Union, which is very important for the companies, because they come here and they see the talent, they see the creativeness of our people, of our engineers, and after that, they decide to expand their business several times. So they're making many expansions due to the availability of such people. So this is the reason that we have many new R&D centers. They have been made together with the investment. This is a very good sign also from our partners, our potential investors from Israel to come here in Bulgaria and to start their business without any concerns, to find the right people, not only for the production, but also for the development, for the R&D, so which is very, very important for the business of the companies. We put on this slide some information regarding our, according to the Bulgarian National Bank, the statistics. We have reserves, and I'm pretty sure that in the next years our trade will be again will grow again and will reach bigger levels together in the trade and in the investment level. So on the next slide, I present the important information regarding the rates, regarding the GDP. So In Bulgaria, we have growth of the GDP last year with more than 3%. This is a very positive sign. On the next place, so Bulgarian debt, government debt to GDP is the second lowest in the European Union. It is around 22%. The most important sign for the investors is not only from our presentation, but from the statistics, which shows that for the period of January-September this year, 2023, we had 3.1 billion euro of foreign direct investment, which is approximately 50% higher than this rate in the period January-September 2022. So this is also important for the companies to make their plans. And on the other side, this can be proven with the interest of the companies coming to us. We have an increase of this interest, so that means also Israeli companies, they can come here to us, and we can together support and make their business plan real in our country, which is very important. And everyone knows that currently they feel here very secure, and they can feel like at home, not only doing business, but also for their life, they are coming here and staying with their families, as my colleagues also said before. So the next important point is that we have a stable supply of utilities. So we have we have a good source of electricity, good sources of electricity, reliable sources in Bulgaria. The price of the electricity has been fixed from the government, and the companies are not paying more than 100 euro per megawatt. So this is 200 leva, because of, you know, in the last 2 years, we had very big electricity prices in the whole Europe because of the war in Ukraine. And our government has resolved this issue, this risk for the companies, fixing the maximum electricity price. On the next point, which is very important, Bulgaria succeeded to ensure the independent gas supplies. We have made an interconnector with our south neighbor Greece, and this make Bulgaria independent from the Russia gas supply before, because Bulgaria was the second country after Poland. Russia stopped our gas supplies suddenly, and fortunately our plans and our connectors have been made, and we make it in operation at that time, together with making a gas terminal with the Greek company. So this is, let's say, very stable right now, and companies can rely on the local production of electricity at normal price. They can rely on the gas supplies. There is no issue with the water. So all that utilities are secured for the companies here. Another important figure is that our unemployment rate is around 4.6%, which is a bit lower in the capital, Sofia, and in the big cities, Plovdiv, Varna, Burgas, and Pleven, Stara Zagora. What I mean, there's, let's say, coming here in Bulgaria, you can find right people, you can find workers. There is no big issue with the working force. So coming here, you can have your potential workers, your potential working force. So this is not, of course, this is an issue in Europe, in the whole Europe, everywhere. But still, companies are coming here. They say that this is resolvable, and they are working together with the universities. They are working together with the schools, and this cooperation gives very good results. Because also we have a dual education system in the secondary schools. So many of the pupils, they are making studies, and in the same time, they are following their studies at school. So which is very good practice for the next level. On the other hand, the government has made a program for securing some of the specialties where there's need for more people. So this gives very good results because the students there, they have some benefits studying, for example, such specialties. They pay low taxes. They pay low for their studies. So this is very good incentive. As we mentioned, Bulgaria has very good success in the mathematics. Our pupils, they are going in the world competitions, and they win prizes, which is a very good point also for the companies that coming here, they can rely on the talent of the people, as I mentioned before. Mr. Ambassador said about the stability at the currency level. I may add that the wish of the government is to enter the Eurozone, to adopt Euro in 2025. All the efforts of our government are in this point, and we think that Bulgaria will enter the Eurozone 2025. This currency board, or this fixed exchange rate, is since many years, more than 20 years, this currency rate has been fixed by the parliament, and will keep this level until the Bulgaria enter the Eurozone. So you see, €1 is 1.95 Bulgarian level, or almost €1 is approximately 2 Bulgarian level, and this is this gives also to the companies this environment where they can plan after making the investment. They can plan their finance for a long term. This is important on this point of view. So on the next step, so I need to make accent about the certification criteria and what Invest Bulgaria is doing in that process. So as I mentioned before, so our first role is promoting the country, and the second is to work with the companies to start their activities in very short term in Bulgaria. Our certification process is easy. The companies, they are preparing their application formula together with a person from Invest Bulgaria. So we support the process, and we make it very easy for our partners. On the next point, we have prepared for you here the government incentives in our country. The first point, they are financial incentives. The second is non-financial incentive. I mentioned before that we have several good financial incentives for the companies. The first one is financial support for training of newly hired people at the company. So this can be up to 3 million euro. What I mean, so if you register a company, start activity, you can get funds from the government to train the people, not only in Bulgaria, but you can train the people in the European Union, you can train in Israel, and the state is paying partly for these financial expenses to the company. On the next point is that the government is giving back the social security payment for the employees, for the workers. What this means, if you, for example, for the big cities, this regime is valid for up to 1 year, and for the smaller cities where the unemployment rate is higher than the average of the country, the companies can benefit from this regime for 2 years. The social security payment for the worker, employer pays around 17 to 19% over the salary. For example, if this is 1,000, so the employer has to pay another 190 euro for each of the employees. This payment are given back to the company, so by the state, after having this certificate from our agency. The next measure is financial support for the construction of the elements of the technical infrastructure of the investor. This can be road access, this can be water supply, sewage system. This process is on the municipal level. That means the government is paying to the municipality, because in general the roads are municipal ownership at the local level, and the municipality is doing the procedure for the investor. If, of course, they find such a place which needs such infrastructure, in some cases you can find a location without such needs, so it depends of the requirements of the investment project. On the next point is acquisition of private municipal or private state-owned land. With our certificate, the investor can benefit of acquiring a land, municipal or state-owned, without tender procedure at market price. That means if you like such property, if there is availability of such property, because mostly the property here in Bulgaria is private, the land property is private, but there is still at the municipalities owned by them or by the state. This guarantees for you that this location will be for your investment plan, because on the tender procedure we can have competition, and there is no guarantee there that such land will go to the investment intention, to the investment plan to the investor. So this guarantees for the investor that the land will be for him. This slide we show the fastest growing sector in Bulgaria. There's a big race in the automotive sector in the last 15 years. We have more than 350 companies in the sector, and this is well developed in the whole country. And many companies they are continuing working in the sector, and they are continuing to make their expansion in our country. We may say that mostly more than 80% of the automotive parts made and critical components manufactured in Bulgaria are for the vehicles produced in the European Union. So we have a very good supply chain in that field. Up to now, we don't have a car producer in Bulgaria. We have some projects, and hopefully we work together with the companies to attract a car manufacturer in our country. So at that field, I may say that we also put efforts to become a partner of the alliance, European alliance of the producer of the batteries, and also we have discussion with companies to install here to make battery production in Bulgaria. I also would be glad to have companies from Israel, not only in the production, also in the R&D in that field. The next point is the mechanical engineering sector, health and life science, electronics, IT, BPO, robotics, and mechatronics. I may say some additional words about the fastest developing sector, automotive. So we have more than 11% of GDP coming from this sector, and currently 75,000, approximately 75,000 workers are working there, and we have 36 R&D centers. So this is a very good sign for the other companies. IT and BPO, I mentioned before, we have 35 universities in that fields. The turnover is more than 4 billion, and this sector makes more than 6% of our GDP. The most important is that we have such universities in the whole country, and the companies can rely on people not only in Sofia but in the other big cities, in Plovdiv, Varna, Burgas, north in Ruse. So this is very well positioned in the country, and this is not necessary to make only the investment in our capital. So the investment can be made everywhere with support of our technical universities in the countries. So this is, let's say, another attractive point. I mentioned since my beginning of the presentation for the talent of the people. In general, Bulgaria has 52 universities. They are at 14 cities. So this network is very well presented. So the students, yes, for more than 6,000, they are in foreign language. I have mentioned that there is no language barrier because also of the high network of language schools in our country. So each big city has a bilanguage school. They can find workers. The main languages are English, German, French, Spanish. So all the companies can find workers with no barrier in our country. So on the next slide, I want to say a couple of words of the Insight Institute. This is world-class artificial intelligence institute for research and deep tech in Eastern Europe. This is a new institute established in Bulgaria, and they have PhD students, researchers right now, and this institute received support from the government with more than 100 million US dollars, and together with Google, VMware, and other big companies, they continue and to expand the activities, and they work strongly with the European universities in our country. There's opportunity for funding here. We have European and national funding opportunities in Bulgaria for the next 10 years. These are European programs. This is the European resilience plan. We have access to innovation fund to 20 billion euro for the next years. And having established here, you can also use the European support for the business and the measures from the government to support the companies to make them competitive and to expand their business. We have here some good opinion from the investors, why they come here, why they choose Bulgaria, how they feel. I'll give the presentation to my colleague. Just in a couple of words, why to come in Bulgaria. Once again, this is stability, this is the talent, this is the educated and skilled workforce, this is the easy market access from our country, this is low risk coming here, and strong government support. And not at the last point, this is the positive attitude from Bulgarians. They like foreigners, and all the foreigners feel at home here and working without any concerns in the day time, in the night time. So this is another advantage which is which is our advantage comparing to big European cities where you can have some doubts going out. I want to thank you so much once again to the organizers, to the Embassy of Israel in our country for your support, for our common work, for our teamwork. I think that after this forum today, we have more interest of Israeli companies. We're at your disposal. Please contact us. You have here our email, our telephone number. We are at your disposal for further cooperation. Please email us if you have any questions. We can start with the online communication. And if you think that the moment is good for you, please come here. We organize country meetings with the government level, with the municipal level. And we are pretty sure that we will have more companies from Israel in our country. I wish success of the forum. I wish good health to all of you in these difficult times for you. We are with you. We are supporting you, as this was been mentioned by the ambassador. And we hope that this situation will end very soon, and the positive will for everyone will come in a very short time. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Mr. Balchev, for your support, kind words, and information that you shared. I believe that is very valuable. But I want to ask you, and I will extend also the question to Mila Nenova if she's still here. Like we see that there, you have all of the right ingredients, like they're already there. But can you elaborate with a few words what Bulgaria needs, like how Israel can be included, how Israel can help Israeli business? Mr. Balchev, can you hear me? if there is some problem.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Maybe we have some technical difficulties. Mr. Balchev?
Mr. Balchev?
Okay, while we wait, I would like to say a very few words regarding some opportunities. And one thing is that's important is that Bulgaria is currently, we can say that it's on the verge of going digital. There are a lot of resources spent by the government, both national and EU, to implement various digital solutions. There is also a lot of effort from the government to build like digital health system and to ease like the access to administrative services. So this is one field that is very important. The other is cybersecurity is becoming more and more relevant, and unfortunately, I have to mention that there were a few successful attempts to to hack some systems here in Bulgaria. So this is also one field that is very important, and Israel is very good at it. So the experience of Israel can be very, very helpful to Bulgaria. I see that Mr. Balchev is here again.
Yeah, and we also have one question at the Q&A regarding the level of interest of importing chilled food products from Israel, such as chilled salads. Is there a need or a demand for it in Bulgaria?
See, Mr. Balchev, if you hear us, can you elaborate more on that question?
Sorry, we lost connection. I didn't hear you after the end of the presentation. Now the problem has been resolved. Do you hear me right now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, but after finishing, I stopped hearing. After finishing my presentation, I stopped hearing you. Sorry about that, but the problem.
Okay, there is one question that people are interested in, and it's is there an interest to import chilled food products from Israel, such as like chilled salads? Can you elaborate more on that front?
We are working, as I mentioned, for the investment, for the, let's say, manufacturing, for the services sector. These special requirements we can address to our colleagues from the Agency of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises. I cannot answer right now. So with our agency, we need also to check because we have many projects, and I cannot tell you right now what is the interest in that field. So we may check and answer later.
Amazing. Yeah, and also I would like to remind everyone that they can contact the agency, they can contact the Israeli Export Institute, the embassy, so we can help you with the requests and questions that you have. And another thing that I believe is important for the Israeli companies and business, Mr. Balchev, is can you like summarize and say like what Bulgaria needs, like how Israel can be integrated, can help, how the Israeli experience and companies can enter the market. So if you can say that.
No, this is very easy here. So we know our taxes are low in the European Union. We have only 10% personal income tax, corporate income.
I mean in a way like what Bulgaria needs, because we see that the ingredients are there. I mean, there are a lot of good things that are happening, but like what Bulgaria needs, if you can.
So Bulgaria, how to say? So we are making the environment very friendly and very good, and so the companies decide how they make their business plans, how they develop their business. We would be glad if we have more investment in R&D sector, as I mentioned before, or in IT sector. We'll be glad to have more companies some of the Israeli companies are already here. They know the environment. So we have also, let's say, potential in the automotive sectors, as I mentioned before. So this is big potential, and so I cannot say that we have one or two needs. So the environment is very friendly, and the companies will see, will check, and after that we'll decide how they can cooperate in the future with us. We are here, and we can support any initiative or in any sector, or depending on the sector, because we have many opportunities, especially right now. You know, as I mentioned, we are producer of electricity. Now it's important to make storage for this electricity. So we need in that field investment. We had water pumping water plant. That means to balance the system, but right now they are repairing it, and there's a project of expanding that. What I mean, when the renewables are not working, there's no sun, no wind. For example, we switch on this water power plant, and they can generate electricity from the water between two lakes. Water goes from the upper lake to the lower lake. When we have electricity, much quantities in the day, for example, or huge wind, they make water back to the upper lake. But currently we have a problem. We hope that we will resolve it in the 1-2 years because of the problem in the turbine. This water generating, pumping water generating power plant has capacity around 800 megawatt for approximately 8 hours working. The wish of the government is to expand this work to be at least 24 hours, but we need many new investment for the other lakes for that to balance the renewable sources of energy, which is important. Right now we are balancing with the thermal power plant, and so this is not the future.
Thank you so much for elaborating further on that. I see that we are a bit pressed by time, so Daphne, I don't know if we have the time to answer other questions.
We're at your disposal. If there are no now questions, they can ask later. So we're here.
Most of the questions here are very specific for different companies. I can ask if you have someone is asking with if you have an FDA.
I suggest that if there are specific questions, to be able to answer specific answers, that we'll get it into our email, and then we'll be able to check with the relevant authority or with Mr. Balchev, and to give the answer. I mean, not every question is in the interest of everyone. They are asking if there is a problem to share the slides with the audience. Mr. Balchev, this is a question for you.
For sure, Mr. Ambassador, will send the presentation, and the presentation can be distributed to all the companies. So we will send to Mr. Durov, and he can distribute it.
Daphne, maybe you can put it in your website, no?
Yes, we will.
It is, but so it's, let's say, I cannot explain where exactly is the presentation. The better way is to send to Mr. Durov, and he'll forward to everyone.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do. So I would like to sum up and thank all of you, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Balchev, Victor Darov, Naama, Anat Oz from my team, for organizing and participating in this webinar, and for you the exporters and the companies at home in the office for joining us. We will send you an email with the feedback form, with the details, contact details of Victor at the embassy, and with the presentation of Mr. Balchev. And the recording will be on our website probably Sunday morning. So thank you very much for joining us today, and we wish all of us better days and good news, and have a nice weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone.